All right, talk to me about this esports at the Olympics thing. What's going on with this?
All right, hang on. Let me make sure that I have the proper topic highlighted. Whee! There we go. And let's talk about this. The reason why this has come up is I saw basically Paris Olympic Committee is open to adding esports to the 2024 Olympics.
Okay.
And so, speaking to the Associated Press, co-president of the Paris Olympics Big Committee said that he was planning to hold talks on the possibility of adding esports to the 2024 Summer Olympics. We have to look at it because we can't say it's not us, it's not about Olympics. The youth, yes, they are interested in esports and this kind of thing. Let's look at it, let's meet them, let's try to see if we can find some bridges. And then Best of Five asked about it on a tweet as well. They're like, what are your opinions on it? And I basically responded to that. And
oh, did you?
yes, I did. And I basically said, no, sir, I do not think that this is a proper marriage. I do not think esports have any place in the Olympics, actually.
Okay, all right.
Just like, look, Olympics are a celebration of what the physical body can do. Yes, I know there are some events that test that.
Horse
rule.
jumping.
Yes, but honestly, it is about physical prowess, right? And that's not a knock on the esports, because, like I said, some of these game tournaments require hours of mental and physical stamina and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like video games are more cerebral, and that's not a knock on the Olympics. I'm not saying that there's not strategy in the Olympics and stuff like that, right? But they're just two different things. They celebrate two different things. We have EVO, we have all these pro tour circuits and everything like that. We don't need to be in the Olympics. It doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Well, it does somebody good. The International Olympic Committee.
Okay.
You know, I don't respect those people at all.
Yes.
I'm sure I've talked about that. In fact, I have before on the show. I think they're basically piles of garbage. And I'm not surprised at all that they would want to cash in on the esports monies. Not at all.
Okay.
Yo, if Riot comes to town and they're like, hey, IOC, here's a cool couple of millions, why don't you put us... Of course they're going to say yes. Of course, they're idiots. They're corrupt idiots. Of course they would say yes. So that makes all the sense in the world to me. I don't want it to happen. I would prefer it if Olympics got rid of a bunch of the stuff that they have. I think horse jumping is absurd. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's crazy that they got rid of wrestling for a while.
Dressage.
Whatever it's called.
No, dressage is the other version of the horse jumping, which is the prance around and show off your horse.
Oh,
isn't
horse
it?
show. I have no idea, James.
I think that's what it is.
I think you're right that there are two separate
But
events.
like the horse jumping, I can... but the horse is doing most of the
absurd.
work. Yeah.
No, come on. It's a sport that 10 people have access to in the world, and they're all rich, and I don't care about any of them. I want the Olympics.
They got rid of wrestling, which is like
I think
one
it's
of
back
the
now,
first
but...
original things.
Yeah. I want it to basically be like a test of the things that it was back in the day, like how far can you throw a javelin? Let's run fast, like the basics. You know what I mean? Like how far can you throw a heavy ball? Like stuff like that. I don't want it to be all these newfangled things or whatever. I really don't. I don't think that there's much in the way of chance that that'll change, because I think the people running it are basically corrupt douches, but that's what I would prefer.
I mean, if people don't know the stories, like, not only is it, like, corrupt and they do all this stuff, like, you know, they basically drain cities to death, basically, every time they have an Olympics, like...
So that happens with cities that are not in, like, rich countries.
Right,
So, like, Athens got its butt kicked.
Brazil got its butt kicked.
Brazil. It's not necessarily the case with other countries. In fact, some have turned profits, right? In cities that already have a lot of the infrastructure anyway, and they don't have to build a badminton stadium or whatever that they're never going to use. So it's not always a death sentence, but it is often enough, and certainly the IOC doesn't care about that at all.
Right, they don't really help them, they don't help with the city.
No. And
then there's also the stories of just, like, people, waitresses, who, like, see the IOC committee come into the restaurant and they just, like, spend, like, $5,000 on a meal for all of them, and then they just, like, don't leave a tip, and then they're just, like, gone, and, like, you know, they're obviously not caring about how they use the funding and all that stuff like that.
No, it's free money for them.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I realize that if in 2024 they're like, hey, what about having fighting games at the Olympics? Hey, James and David, You want to come commentate? I mean, I'll probably say yeah, but that's definitely not going to happen. So it's not even a real hypothetical.
Right,
but
right.
at this moment, I'm killing that potential anyway. So
Yeah.
those guys can all honk off. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't even watch the Olympics anymore because I feel like a grimy jerk myself. I feel grimy for having supported something where people had to drive their yachts in sewage.
Well, I've changed my
feel bad
mind.
about that,
I think
so.
they should totally do it, and I am available in 2024.
You're going to make sure that year is off on your calendar.
I am
there.
available in 2024 for Paris, so...
Yeah,
Dude,
for
I
the free
mean-
travel to Paris. I don't have any other way for fighting games to get me to Paris for free. Hold on a minute. Maybe I do.
Oh, man. But, I mean, honestly, the Olympics are really cool, though. Like, I still remember one year watching it. Like, the Olympics can be really exciting, but, like, yeah, it's all the outside things that are starting to mar it. and it's really
The
annoying.
competitors I have a lot of respect for, of course, and I like to watch a lot of the events. There are a lot of things that I don't watch at all, except for during the Olympics. And I think that's really cool. I'm loath to give that stuff up, but I also don't want to support the IOC.
I mean, the crazy thing is,
What
the
you gonna do?
1 year that I enjoyed it the most, I was still in college, so obviously during the summer I didn't have anything to do, so I was just at home all day. And so, like, my best friend was visiting during the Olympics, and my brother was just, like, chilling there as well. He was working at the time, but, like, we just basically spent that whole week, like, watching Olympics. And so we were watching in the middle of the night, so we were watching things like handball, and we were watching, like, all the really obscure stuff. Some of that stuff is, like, the best stuff.
I'm totally with you.
Right? Like I hate the fact, like, so my biggest problem with the Olympics, honestly, when they're on TV, is that they only show, like, like, gymnastics and swimming, and that's, like, it, right? And then the decathlon, track and field stuff, and, like, that's it,
Yeah,
right?
and they still, at least in the U.S., they still time shift things. So like, you still got to wait until like at an arbitrary time at night when some NBC executive from 1960 thinks that you have to then watch it. Like they're one of the only ways to watch the Olympics.
Right.
Like it's not 2017. The whole thing is run so badly.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't want
like,
anything to do with
honestly, if fighting games made it into the Olympics, I guarantee you if it was broadcast, it would only be Street Fighter and Smash. Like, that's all we're going to see.
Oh yeah, no, it's
And then,
not
like,
gonna be
Tekken's going to be off to the side, and Justice is going to be off to the
No,
side.
it's
yeah.
going to be Fighters of the Storm and
Yeah.
League of Fighters.
And also, to be honest, of course, there won't even be fighting games, period. And that's another thing, too, that's interesting, though, is that, with the Olympics, there's really no IPs. It's just athletes, right? But, like, now all of a sudden, like, let's say fighting games do want to get in there. Now all of a sudden, if they want to put Injustice in there, they got to talk to DC and all these things.
That's a good point.
So there's a whole other ball game in there.
The IOC is super weird when it comes to their own IP. They make countries and states and localities that have the Olympics, they literally require the passage of new laws that dictate how people can use their IP.
Oh, dang.
It's more... It's crazier than usual. It's already... The IP law is crazy anyway, but the stuff that they mandate is even crazier. So how would that interface with some rights-owned thing like a video game? I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I feel
Maybe the IOC says, all right, guys, esports is a big deal, but we can't have this whole IP problem. We got to have Olympics, the video game. And so they...
Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Let's do it.
I can totally see them just making their own MOBA. You know what I mean?
God.
Yeah, esports, sure, okay.
Like, oh, you know what? The games we play, it's just like the bikes that we ride, So who cares about IP? You just give us all the rights, It's totally doesn't matter.
Yeah, the whole sponsorship situation is a problem at the Olympics. Again, a lot of IP issues. There's a lot of weird crap with them. I feel like I want that institution to die and be reborn.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like, just destroy the whole thing and then rebirth it at some point into a more reasonable
I mean,
fashion.
honestly, not to be an ageist or anything like that, but I feel like that's a lot of the problems with a lot of the things, right? It's just like, it's really just gotten to the point where, like, a bunch of old people who are happy and comfortable in their position
I'm totally with you.
all their money, and, like, so they just want to do everything to keep that money, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, honestly, like, I feel like governments need to hire younger people, get better ideas in there.
Oh, well.
Corporations need to hire younger people. you know, I don't know. Like,
I'm not against old people, but I am against old ideas and the inability to change, and those seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not really being ageist, because if I'm being ageist, then I would be going against myself.
That's true.
Right? Because I'm an old man, too.
That's right. On the back nine, as they say.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Yeah, exactly, with the self-hate, exactly. Self-deprecation right there. But, I mean, honestly, you know, like, old people won't let that happen, and that's exactly the problem. That is exactly the problem.
You know, when we're old, that's how the world works.
I mean,
new generations are always mad at the old ones.
But
and
see,
I
hope it's a little different, because, like, you know, one of the things that I've always said, you know, regarding that is, like, you know, when you get older, you're always like, man, what is with these kids' technology and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that, you know, nowadays, the kids growing up, they're changing UIs and interfaces, and they're getting new technology at such rapid rates that by the time they grow up, they can adapt. Like, because the thing about it is, back then, when you learned how to use a VCR, you were set for like 20 years.
That's true.
Right? Like, when my dad got a VCR in like 1981 or something like that, right? We didn't need a DVD player until like...
Telephones, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you were set. You didn't have to learn new technologies. But at this point in time, we're learning new technologies at such rapid rates that I hope that by the time, like, today's kids get to that age, that they won't get stuck in old technology and stuff, because they're just so used to adapting constantly.
I think I expect the same. But I do also expect for the things that really matter in life, like who controls politics and money.
Right. And so that's...
I don't expect us to be any different, because no generation's been ever different. Yeah. I don't know why we would... Maybe there's something qualitatively different about us.
The only thing that I could say qualitative difference is that the world is much smaller, and there's a lot more social media now, and so you are exposed to people a lot more. So I think that would be the only saving grace. Despite the fact that I do think that social media is actually quite toxic at a lot of times, but it's also quite eye-opening at the same time. It's honestly like the good and the bad of social media. But
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, our generation is more progressive than previous ones, but you know, we're gonna have the jerks.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any way around that.
Yeah. So, okay.
Maybe just fewer of them will be actual Nazis, but we'll see.
Yeah, actually, Solzhan says that I think porn killed Betamax, and that's absolutely true. Whatever format porn goes on, they were the ones that took out HD DVD. Remember when Blu-ray and HD DVD, and then they went with Blu-ray, and then that was the end of that. And they went with VHS instead of Betamax. So
I hear that.
Absolutely true. It's absolutely true. So, all right.
Anyway,
anything else to say about this limit? I don't think there's.
They can honk a dongle.
Speaking of porn, okay. All right.
That's dongle's a technology term, friend.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And you honk it. I don't know what that means. All right, what do we got? What do we got in terms of news?
I've always said
Let's go to this one over here.
You could turn any phrase dirty if you just, like, any phrase of, like, verb, the noun.
Yeah.
If you just change the middle into her or his. And, like, at that point in time, like, everything just becomes...
Honk his dongle. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, you know, like, I want to ride my bike, I want to ride her bike. You know, like, oh, I want to turn on that fan, I want to turn on his fan. Like, everything, like, can be made dirty just by like, change it. Only one I think was, I came up with posting flyers. Like, I want to post up his flyers. And I don't know, that just didn't sound... That was, like, the most non-messed up one that I could do. Those aren't flyers, though, right? Those are posters.